The Sandstorm, bane of every new player to Conan Exiles, a dark wave crashing over the land, sweeping up everyone in its wake, and as soon as it arrives, it vanishes once again without a trace. Must just be some bad weather in the exiled lands, right? Not quite. There's more to uncover here if we dig below the surface. Every now and then, the sky goes dark, the wind howls, and to the west a wall of sand rises, always moving to the east. It always follows the same path. It dominates the clearly defined desert and comes to a sudden stop right before the jungle. If we look a little bit closer, we can tell it stops at an exact point, stopped by an unseen barrier it cannot cross. This final resting point is the aptly named Sandswept Ruins. These ruins mark the end of the desert as a whole. As just past the ridge moving west of it, the transition to jungle is sharp and immediate. Such a dramatic shift in climate is unnatural. Equally unnatural are the beasts that prowl outside the temple. Glowing red eyes, long spiked tails, and fangs dripping with unearthly venom. These creatures are a force to be reckoned with. They are drawn to this place. They are attracted to the storm, and whispers among the exiles say they live inside of it, moving through the land under the cover of the sandstorm, when no sane man would dare stray from shelter. At the foot of the steps to the temple rests a lore stone, sunken in the sand.
This temple serves as the home of the Scourge Stone, Bonded One. Here you will spend your days in service to the divine element and the one who protects it. It is a great honor to you, and to all your kind, that we allow such access to our most holy sites. Be thankful, slave, for the alternative is a screaming death on a bloody altar.
So we know this place was once where the Giant Kings kept the Scourge Stone, or as it's also known, the Heart of the Sands. We'll get back to this in just a moment. Heading inside, past the sand beasts, we are greeted with a most unexpected occupant of this temple, a man, Petruso, the Sandstorm maniac. Unbothered by the swirling sands around him, he stands almost as if waiting for something. You approach him, and he speaks.
A mad fool went wandering in a sandstorm. Eventually a man happened along and said, "You mad fool, what are you doing in this sandstorm?" The mad fool replied, "Your turn to talk, fool." Singing sands, stinging sands, singing, stinging, ringing sands, fighting sands, biting sands, fighting, biting, smiting sands, exiled lands, reptile lands, exiled reptile, defiled. 7 prophets went a-walking, bearing all their tricks. One was caught by Hanuman, and soon 'twas only 6. 6 prophets went a-climbing to get above the hive. One was stung by locusts' wings, and then 'twere only 5. 5 prophets went a-crawling beneath the city floor. One went mad with power, and soon there were just 4. 4 prophets went a-dancing beneath the corpse fruit tree. One climbed up and stayed there, leaving just the 3. 3 prophets went a-fighting through the pirates' crew. One became a mutineer, and soon there were just 2. 2 prophets went a-wandering beneath the burning sun. One got lost in a sandstorm and left the other one. 1 prophet went a-gathering the artifacts of yore. He put them all together and was never seen no more. This is the best place to hear it, you know. Walking around the desert listening to the sand whisper just isn't good enough! Strains the ears, not to mention the mind. Perhaps that's why so many of you are mad fools, not right in the head from trying to listen to the silent sands. Here you can hear the sand shouting at you. When I stumbled into it the first time, all unaware, it simply whispered, "Welcome home." The sandstorm is a living thing, summoned from the ether by foul sorceries. Bound here by the same dark rituals. It escaped the bonds of its masters eons ago, and knows nothing more than an ageless, nameless hunger. It seems to like me, though. You, not so much.
I'm tired of conversing through this madman exile. I desire release from this plane of existence. Such is not within your power to grant without the Scourge Stone. The Scourge Stone was shattered when I was unleashed upon the world. Each piece was lost to time. As I sweep across the exiled lands, I seek the pieces that would provide my liberation. And yet, though I touch all, I do not find what I seek. They are locked away in caves where the howling sands cannot reach. Search the passage used by the Lemurians to wage war upon the one who unleashed me. Search the tomb of Galamon. He once boasted to his friends as they quivered, caught in my wind, of the lucky stone that would be buried alongside him. Search the eastern coastline, for the pirates whisper to one another of a stone that grants the captain wishes. Combine these pieces, Exile. Recreate the Scourge Stone. Complete the Archivist's ritual. Only then can I return whence I came.
Speaking through him is the voice of the sandstorm itself, the divine element. If we can reassemble the Scourge Stone, he can be free from this land along with us. The first piece is deep underground, a hidden tunnel, a secret passage. Buried deep in the marshy northern jungle, the passage serves as a way into the north, bypassing the desert entirely. The entrance to this tunnel is headed by a large stone carving of the Witch Queen, the leader of the Lemurian people. In the past, this tunnel was speculated to be a way of transport between the two human settlements of Zelha in the south and Zulan in the north. Deeper in, the tunnel expands into a large cavern. What remains of a bridge looms over the steep drop below. Heading down, the floor of the cave is home to many spiders and a fearsome Sand Reaper queen. On her we will find the broken Scourge Stone piece. The next piece is claimed from a large crocodile that has taken up residence in Galamon's tomb, a grave of what was presumably once an important member of the Giant King race, although I am not sure. It's certainly Acheronian in architecture, meaning it was most likely built by the Giant Kings. The Sandstorm speaks of it as the occupants most likely met their end in his wind, meaning it was either after the fall of the Giant Kings, or during that time. Now an unassuming cave, one might miss it initially, if they're not watching with a keen eye. Moving east, the final one is a bit harder to track down. Spread out over the area, the shattered Scourgestone piece has been taken by pirates. There are several camps along the way that may have it, going as far east as the Black Hand's Haven in Buccaneer Bay. Somewhere along the trip we will confront either Hecker Waverunner or Gall of the Speardin and reclaim it for ourselves. Returning back to Petruso, we can reconstruct the Scourgestone and be awarded with the Heart of the Sands, whole, once again. Reading the description of the item, it tells us this. Also known as the Scourgestone, this unassuming chunk of stone contains the elemental that plagues the exiled lands with continual sandstorms. Enslaved by the Priest King in his desperation to end the war after the shattering on the plains, he gave it over to the Warmaker to release at the right moment. When the time came, the Warmaker shattered the stone into fragments and scattered them across the battlefield, freeing the elemental to do its work. It seemed to work, gathering a gigantic storm that crossed the exiled lands, moving towards the city of Zelha in the far east. But the Giant Kings had not reckoned with the power of the human spirit. A Lemurian priest named Petruso went out to confront the sandstorm. Using the power of Dagon, he anchored the elemental controlling the sandstorm to his flesh, preventing it from moving further east and destroying the Lemurian city. He saved his people, yes, but Petruso paid a terrible price. His sacrifice had not stopped the sandstorm, it had simply put it in a temporal loop. It passed across the exiled lands time and time again, stopping when it reached Petruso, then starting again. Eventually, this drove him insane. This is one of the artifacts required to create the keystone that can be used to remove the slave bracelet. The game is actually very direct with us here, getting right to the point of what it is and the story behind it. It's a bit tragic learning what happened to Petruso and the sacrifice he made to save his people. He trapped himself along with the elemental, forced to stand guard for thousands of years, waiting for his watch to come to an end. If not for him, the Lemurians would likely have not won the war, and either remained enslaved or been wiped out completely. Cursed to sweep over the exiled lands for millennia, the elemental we now call the Sandstorm ended up being the ultimate downfall of the Giant Kings. We can visit the Warmaker, now wandering what's left of the unnamed city alone, and speak with him about the past.
I smell you, human. The stench of your kind has not improved throughout the eons. Ashes and dust, human. Ashes and dust. All that remains of what we once were. An echo of an echo. I was one of the triumvirate that ruled this land. The archivist concerned himself primarily with the collection of knowledge, and the Priest King had dominion over our spirits and the rituals of our faith. My people called me the Warmaker, for it was my duty to keep them safe. In the end, we were betrayed. During a skirmish in the north, the humans revealed a new weapon, forged of their strange science. It smashed through the ranks of my troops, turning those captured in its blast into solid stone. Those who survived fled south to lick our wounds. During this moment of weakness, the Priest King came to me with a proposal. A new ritual to counter the human sciences. A powerful magic to scour the landscape and drive them forth. In desperation, I agreed. Do you understand, human? In ages past, this was the most fertile land in our empire. And then I unleashed the magic that created the sandstorm. And I lost control of it. I betrayed my people to a slow, dwindling doom.
If you're new to Conan Exiles, or just looking to get some deeper understanding of the rich lore behind the universe, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. I plan on covering a wide range of topics both in the Exiled Lands and the Isle of Sipta. Got any questions you'd like answered? Leave a comment down below on what you'd like me to cover in a future video. Thanks for watching.